Hello everybody. The Nissan Micra is a motoring icon. Not really in the same way that a Jaguar E-Type or a Ferrari F40 is. No, it's an icon of a very different kind. You see, this car really, for many, is a personification of hatred and road rage. This is the car that for some reason, wherever you would find it, the owner is intent on doing precisely half the speed limit. Unless it's by a school, in which case for some reason they want to go hell for leather and dash past even if it is chucking out time. In fact, this is a car, along with the Honda Jazz, that seems the default choice for people that hate cars almost as much as they hate themselves and everybody else. Of course, I'm doing the old Micras a massive disservice. They were, in truth, actually pretty decent cars. They are cheap, easy to run, very small, readily available, and they just do the job. They could even be a little bit of fun to hustle if you are so inclined. For many people, they were their very first step into the exciting world of the motor car. For many an old person, they were the thing that got them and their mate Doris down to the shops, there and back, every single week. It didn't really do anything inherently wrong, and simply plodded along, being one of the unsung heroes of the motoring world for a very long time. And then Nissan go and do this to it. As transformation goes, this is quite dramatic. In fact, with its new lines and angles, I'd say you could almost call the new Micra sporty. So with prices from about £14,000, surely this would be an ideal car to recommend to somebody looking for a cheap new car. Well, no. There's plenty of room in it. In here, and in here. But it suffers from its Nissan-ness, unfortunately. This car, at just over £20,000, is priced pretty similarly to a well-specified Kia Rio, yet it falls short on paper and in practice in many key areas. Take the front. This is the top-line Tecna version, so you'd think it would be well specified, and according to Nissan, it is. So what does that get you? Well, it gets you the Bose personal sound system. That is 2 extra speakers in the driver's headrest, added to the 4 speakers up front of the normal system and the no speakers in the back. You have these 17-inch alloys, which actually are pretty alright looking. You get a reversing camera, you get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, keyless entry. But there really isn't much to actually make you sort of stand up and take notice. There's some bits of leather or leatherish, but the seats are cloth and a little bit small and not very comfortable. There isn't really much else on it. For a couple of £1,000 more, a Ford Fiesta Vignale is a heck of a lot more car, and it doesn't get any better under here either, because the engine is also entirely uninspiring, and you have no choice in that matter, because every Micra now comes with a 999cc turbocharged 3-cylinder, making a measly 92 horsepower, and that isn't even the worst bit about the car. Oh no. You see, this car has been fitted with a CVT gearbox. If you're not sure what that is, a CVT is one of those pieces of technology which is very clever indeed, and in theory works very well, but in practice is awful. CVT stands for continuously variable transmission. It's the same sort of thing you'll find on a lot of scooters and mopeds. It's a very clever system of pulleys and rollers and things that means that it is essentially whatever gearing it wants to be whenever it wants to be. It means that when you want to accelerate, the car can be held at its peak RPM, and then when you want to cruise, it can drop right down and be nice and efficient. What this means, though, is that it's a very odd thing to drive, because you'll find it either making lots of noise or none at all. And here's a weird bit. This is simulating, on occasion, having gears, but it's not very good at it. Let me get to a slightly faster piece of road and I'll probably show you what this car does. Around town, it's actually fine. I mean, it does the business. Visibility is quite good. Lots of glass here. You can place it really well. Despite being much larger in all dimensions versus the outgoing car, it is still a small vehicle overall. It's comfortable enough, although these seats I really don't get on with. They feel like they've been designed for somebody that is far, far smaller than me. And I don't just mean me after a nice diet. I mean like somebody of an entirely different bone structure. I am sitting on the outside of the bolsters. I don't even get that in my Honda S2000. So here we are, change from 30 to national speed limit. I'm going to put my foot right down and show you what a CVT does. Now earlier, this was just holding RPM when I went out before. Now it is actually trying to simulate gears again. And this is where it goes all wrong, because it feels like it's kind of doing an okay job of doing that. Why it's simulating gears, maybe it's a placebo thing, maybe they think people like CVTs more when they do that, they'll think they've actually got a normal automatic. But it's just some sort of weird quasi-gearbox feeling that never quite sits right. And then once you've finished accelerating, you lift off, and the car often will sort of jerk forwards. Really all very unbecoming, not smooth or pleasant at all. Foot down. Oh. Yeah, so actually I lifted my foot off and there's still a big old surge of power because the car is still revving, it's still geared like it wants to go fast, and it has to take a moment to sort of change the gearing, and then the car slows down a bit. As you can tell, conditions today are somewhat treacherous. Been out filming all morning, and in fact we've been filming in something else that's going to be revealed at some point soon, and you wouldn't believe I've been out filming in that today, but indeed we have. Of course, the Micra is front-wheel drive, and it's a very easy car to place on the road, which is essential when it is going to be the sort of thing you can use on shopping trips, all that sort of stuff. Now this is a killer bend here. The fact nobody's had an accident is a minor miracle. You've got ice all along here, and then you come down the road, more ice in the middle, all over the side. So if you weren't being careful, you'd get here, you'd brake, slide over to the right-hand side, and you probably wind up in that field down there. The road genuinely is actually closed in a few hundred yards, which is why I've been using it. It's been great because I am essentially the only traffic on it. Now let's see what traction in this car is like in less than ideal conditions. And I think we can all agree this is less than ideal conditions. So, move into reverse. Interestingly, the lever here is a very traditional auto lever. It does actually move, something you don't see in cars all that often these days. The reversing camera is actually, it's okay, it's clear enough. Not particularly high-res or modern, and the screen feels very small for a new car. And pull away. Yeah. Car squirms around a little bit, as you would expect it to be honest. And away we go. Power. It's weird, it's a surge of power. It comes after you've finished asking for it. All a bit odd. And it's a real shame because this car does have one sort of star quality. It's actually quite fun to drive. None of it's really particularly exceptional. The engine certainly isn't. The steering's not great. The chassis is smooth enough. It all just comes together quite well, and it's a very fun car to kind of hustle along. Now, today's not the best day to show you that, but believe me, I have had this car for a few days, and I have been able to enjoy it. Similarly, the Qashqai that I had not too long ago, I actually thought was a better car than you really would have expected. It's better, certainly, than the sum of its parts. However, the Micra has a big issue, really. That is the fact that the competition, as far as I'm concerned, is just far too stiff. The Kia Rio offers you more for the same, or indeed for less, is a decent driving car, looks pretty good, I think, has an actual range of engines to choose from, including, unbelievably, a 48-volt mild hybrid, if you're that way inclined, and comes with Kia's 7-year warranty, which is certainly going to be a draw to the kind of person buying this sort of car. The whole thing also feels just that much more modern, better tied together. The Micra, I find myself unable to hate. It's actually a reasonably sure-footed car, and it makes no pretenses towards being anything actually sporty. I think it's a shame. I'd love to see a hot Micra, but I think politics at Nissan at the moment means that's just simply not going to happen. As it is, the Micra for me is just a stunningly average car that I really struggle to recommend. Had it got a manual in it, this would be an awful lot more fun, but equipped with a CVT, nah, this thing is just absolutely unenjoyable. It really is. That's a shame, because it shouldn't be. It wants to be much better than it is. So that is a small review of a small car. Remember, kids, don't do CVTs. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.